Hello, everyone, and welcome to your weekly Current Affairs Explainer. Whether you're gearing up for competitive exams or you're just genuinely curious about what's happening around the world, well, you are in the exact right place. Today, we're going to unpack the very dense, jam-packed news from the first week of May 2026 and turn into clear, thematic takeaways. There's a lot of data, but don't worry, we're going to break it down so it's simple, structured, and super easy to remember. So let's keep the energy high and jump right in. But before we get started, I've got a quick question for you. What on earth could possibly connect a tiny 7-year-old swimmer to India's massive space mission? Sounds totally impossible, right? Like the depths of the ocean on one side and the absolute heights of space on the other. Well, we're going to answer that a bit later in this session, and believe me, it's going to completely blow your mind. Now, keeping track of a whole week of scattered news can be tough, so we've divided everything into 4 simple buckets. Here's our mental roadmap. First, India on the move. Second, geopolitics and global shifts. Third, tech, space, and defense. And fourth, sports and historic milestones. This structure is going to make remembering all this a total breeze. All right, let's kick things off with Section 1, India on the move, infrastructure and legal milestones. Okay, let's dive right into this. This week, we saw some major shifts in infrastructure and the legal system that directly impact our daily lives. 36,230 crore rupees. That is the massive cost of the newly inaugurated Ganga Expressway in Hardoi. At 594 kilometers long, this 6-lane greenfield expressway is one of the longest in India. And the scale of this is just absolutely massive. It's not just a road, it's a huge economic corridor that's going to completely transform travel time and supply chains across UP and all of North India. Moving up to the mountains, the administration in Ladakh just took a huge step. Previously, there were only 2 districts there, Leh and Kargil. Now, they've added 5 new ones, Nubra, Sham, Chongthang, Zanskar, and Dras. So that brings the total up to 7 districts. Now, you might be wondering, why does this local governance shift even matter? Well, the terrain in Ladakh is incredibly tough. By having smaller, more numerous districts, government schemes and development can reach the local people so much faster. Government is literally coming right to their doorsteps. Next up, a really interesting policy update. India just announced a 100% fee waiver for intellectual property, or IP, registrations related to sports for the next 3 years. So why and how does this work? Let's say you're a startup that just designed a cool new piece of sports equipment, or maybe you're an athlete who wants to trademark your personal brand. The government is no longer going to charge you a registration fee for that. Removing this financial burden basically means sports innovation and startups in India are about to get a massive boost. Now, what's really crucial here is how our laws are evolving right alongside this new infrastructure. The Supreme Court of India just delivered a landmark ruling stating that safe highway travel is now a fundamental right under Article 21, which guarantees the right to life. This means providing safe roads isn't just a government responsibility anymore. It is your constitutional right. If a highway isn't safe, technically your right to life is being violated. This is a total game changer for road safety accountability. At the institutional level, we hit 2 more major milestones. First, Sikkim has officially become India's first paperless judiciary under Chief Justice Surya Kant. In simple terms, this means all court work, files, and processes are now fully digital. This is going to drastically improve the speed of justice delivery and make it way more accessible for the average person. On the financial side of things, Rohit Jain has been appointed as the new Deputy Governor of the Reserve Bank of India for the next 3 years. And speaking of finance, we've got a massive, decade-long milestone to celebrate. India's UPI, the Unified Payments Interface, just completed its 10-year journey. There was a time when this was just a small experiment. And look at it today. From buying daily groceries to booking flights, our everyday payment habit has literally become a worldwide standard. Other countries are actually looking to copy India's model now. Moving on to Section 2, Geopolitics and Global Shifts, India and the World. Let's see how all this builds into our next bucket. The global power structure is shifting rapidly, and India is holding a very strong position globally. According to the 2025 report by the Stockholm International Peace Research Institute, or SIPRI, India has become the world's 5th largest military spender. Our defense budget jumped by 8.9% from the previous year, reaching $92.1 billion. These numbers clearly show just how serious India is about national security and military modernization, and how much our footprint in the global power matrix has grown. Now, some truly historical news from the world of global energy politics. The United Arab Emirates has officially left OPEC and OPEC Plus effective May 1st, 2026. This exit comes after nearly 6 decades. You can think of OPEC as a really powerful global club that basically controls oil prices and supply around the world. The UAE stepping out of this club is a massive shift, and it's something that could definitely impact global oil markets and, eventually, our own petrol prices down the line. Amidst these shifts in energy politics, India's modern diplomatic approach just keeps expanding. On one hand, we've signed a free trade agreement with New Zealand, which is going to give a fantastic boost to our bilateral economic ties and exports. And on the other hand, under the Arogaya Maitri initiative, India deployed its indigenous portable healthcare infrastructure over in Jamaica. This is what we call health diplomacy, where we strengthen our diplomatic relations by providing critical medical help to other nations in times of need. All right, Section 3, Tech, Space, and Defense, blasting into the future. Let's shift gears now and blast straight into the future. Honestly, reading this week's news might make you feel like you're living in a sci-fi movie. ISRO's Gaganyaan program is entering a brand new phase. Space isn't just for trained fighter pilots or scientists anymore. ISRO is actually screening candidates right now to select its second batch of astronauts, and it's expanding to include civilians. That's right, it means regular citizens who match the physical and mental fitness standards could actually get the chance to go to space. This is an absolutely massive leap for space exploration in India. Now, what's really interesting here is the contrast. On one side, we have space tech with Pathfinder, India's first AI-powered orbital data center satellite built by Pixel and Sarvam. This means data is literally going to be processed by AI while up in space. And on the flip side, down here on Earth, OpenAI has launched GPT 5.4 Cyber, a specialized AI model designed purely for cybersecurity defense. Both of these are completely defining the future of AI, one up in space and the other in cyberspace. If your smartphone suddenly let out a massive, loud beep on May 2nd, don't worry, you weren't alone. India tested its native cell broadcast emergency alert system nationwide. Why is this tech so absolutely crucial? Well, in the event of an earthquake, a tsunami, or any major emergency, the government needs to be able to send an alert to every single smartphone in the country within a second, even if the mobile networks are totally congested. This is an incredibly critical tool for everyday public safety. Finally, Section 4, Sports and Historic Milestones, Human Achievements. This final bucket is dedicated to pushing human limits and celebrating the people who actually made history this week. First up, the biggest award in the world of journalism. Indian journalists R.K. Anand and Suparna Sharma were awarded the 2026 Pulitzer Prize. Their deep reporting on cyber fraud and digital surveillance has created a massive impact on a global level. This kind of recognition clearly shows just how crucial investigative reporting on complex digital issues is right now. And now for the answer to that question I asked you right at the beginning. 7-year-old Ishank Singh, hailing from Ranchi, has successfully swum across the 29-kilometer Palk Strait, becoming the youngest swimmer in the world to ever do so. So what was the connection? Well, Gaganyaan is letting regular civilians push the limits of space, while 7-year-old Ishank is down here pushing the absolute limits of human endurance on Earth. His dedication and spirit are just so incredibly inspiring. Let's look at a few more rapid-fire records. Down at Radhanagar Beach in the Andaman and Nicobar Islands, India set a new Guinness World Record by unfurling the largest underwater national flag. Over in sports, India's men's badminton team kept up a stellar performance, officially reaching the Thomas Cup 2026 semifinals over in Denmark. And on the international track, Jamaica just set a brand new world record in the mixed 4x100-meter relay, clocking in at an unbelievable 39.62 seconds. From a competitive exam perspective, let's do a quick chronological recap of the important days this week. May 1st was Labor Day. On May 2nd, we observed World Tuna Day for Marine Conservation. May 3rd was Press Freedom Day, which you can easily link back to our Pulitzer Prize-winning journalists. May 5th was Asthma Day for health awareness, and on May 7th, we celebrated Athletics Day. If you link these to the themes we've discussed today, you'll never forget them for your exams. And that brings us to the end of this explainer. Today, we've covered a huge journey from new highways and civilians in space to digital justice and 7-year-old world record holders. So, I want to leave you with one final,
thought-provoking question. With the massive speed at which India is shifting its infrastructure and AI tech, how do you think these changes will impact your own personal future or career by the end of 2026? Think about it. If you found today's explainer helpful, keep learning and stay curious. We'll see you next week with a brand new session.